I'm going to see if I can breathe. First of all, I would like to say I love you and I am so appreciative of having you in my life, the teachings that I've learned, because my life is so rich and it's so fun.
It just has to be that way. In other words, what we did was we spoke some words, because words don't teach, that caused you to find resonance with who you really are. So what you're describing is the satisfaction of that pretty steady alignment. Yes.
And it's hilarious the way that things happen in my life. I get your CDs and I listen to them till the words are coming off them. And a few months ago you talked about, and today you've been talking about the difference between wanting, the vibration of wanting something, and needing to do something.
Some people say that want and need are the same thing. And you got it. The desire engine or the opposition engine.
Right. Yes. So I thought about that, and the example was somebody that needed $10,000. And so I thought, wow, that's pretty powerful stuff. And I'm going to play the game. I'm going to put it out there. And I said, universe, I would like $20,000.
Just like blue glass butterflies and...
Yeah, and I didn't really think about it that much after that. I just thought, I really would like to have $20,000 to play with. And every now and then I would think, well, that would be kind of fun. When I get my $20,000, I'm going to do this. But the path to it was hilarious. I get a letter 2 weeks later, I swear, 2 weeks later, I get a letter in the mail that says, hello, you worked for us 20 years ago, and you have money in a pension plan. And we're going to give you an opportunity to take a lump sum payment out of your pension plan that you didn't even know you had. And if you're older than 59 and a half, you don't have to pay a penalty on it. And I was literally days over being 59 and a half. So I get a lump sum payment for $22,000. And it was no effort. And I had a blast with the way the whole thing evolved. When I got the money, that was fun too. But it was still, the whole way that the thing evolved was hilarious to me.
Before you give us too much description of that, because we want to go back and get some of that, we have two more stories that we want to tell you that are sort of kind of like that were told to us in the same seminar a few weeks ago. So a woman said that she was wanting to come to one of these seminars and was trying to make her way there. The expense was a big of an issue for her, and so her friend arranged through an airline that she is affiliated with to get her some standby tickets. So the two girls were flying from two different cities, and they were on their way to Chicago. And when she got to the airport, she went right through the security. That part of it was really easy for her. And then when she went to get to the flight, she did not get on that flight. It was full, so she was not able to stand by and get on. So then she did not feel discouraged. She was thinking that the next one, it would happen for her, but the next flight came and she didn't get on it either. So she's still feeling optimistic and very appreciative of her friends. She calls her friend, who is getting ready to board her flight in another city, and said, well, I didn't get on either of these flights. Do you have any suggestions? And her friend said, well, maybe you could fly to New York, and maybe there would be more flights from there to where you want to be. Why don't you ask someone? So she went to the service center and said to a new person behind the counter, do you think I could get on standby to go to New York, and then maybe I could get to where I want to go? And the woman behind the counter said, well, where do you want to go? And she said, Chicago. And the woman paused for a minute and said, well, I think I have a plane going there. Let me check for a little bit. She went out, came back. She said, yes, I can get you on this plane. So the woman was so excited that all of a sudden, here came this flight for her. And when she went down to get on the airplane, she was the only passenger on the plane. There was a flight crew, there was a pilot, there were flight attendants. She was the only passenger on the plane. And the flight attendant stood in front of her and did the safety announcement. And then the pilot came on the intercom and said, ma'am, addressed her directly. And in the same seminar, another woman said she wanted to come to the gathering, couldn't figure out where she was going to get the money, talked to her friend about it, who had introduced her to Abraham and to law of attraction. And they were being very playful about it, as you were describing yourself. And one day, several days before the event was taking place, they were taking a walk through the woods where the leaves are falling, and she looked over and she saw something sort of shining under a leaf, sort of, and she pulled it out, and it was a big diamond earring. Couldn't possibly be real. It's too big to be real, but it was a $9,000 diamond. And so she had no problem making her way to the seminar. And so what we want to ask you to think about those examples and this example, and we especially want you to think about it. So what were the components? What was the mood within you? In other words, you kept using the word playful. You were being playful about it. So it wasn't urgent. In any of these stories where instant manifestation or nearly instant manifestation came about, no one was worried about how it was going to happen. And this is what we really want to say about all three of these. When you know what you want and why you want it, but you are not invested in how it's going to come, when it's going to be there, who's going to bring it, because those questions to which you don't know answers cause you to put engines on the other end of your train. If you're just asking and not doing that thing you do that contradicts your asking, it will come, and it will come fast. And so once you have experiences like that, and another and another and another, after a little while you start to recognize the formula. And this is the thing that someone else listening into a story has a harder time getting, because the formula that we want you to pay attention to is the emotional formula. It's the way you feel about it. In other words, when you say, I'm playful about it, anyone listening to you talking about how fun it would be for $22,000 to just come, they may or may not be feeling playful. They may really need the $20,000, or they may not believe that it could come.
And that's what you talked about that I listened to that started the whole thing. It would just, I guess it clicked for me finally.
And that's why we say start with something easy. And by something easy, it means something that you haven't beaten to death with your doubt. Something that you're not so wadded up in that you can't find a breakthrough. Start with easy things and let the universe show you. The universe will show you the following. The universe will show you, you are your inner being's object of attention. You have our undivided attention. And we mean that. Only you are the divider of the energy. Only you can split the energy. So we wrote a whole book about that. When you ask, it is given. Question is, how do you receive the impulse? How do you be in the right place at the right time? There are people that get those letters and don't even open them. A person in a funk might even see that as junk mail. There are all kinds of things that keep you from receiving what you are wanting.
Well, you had talked about being kind to yourself and be easier and rest more. And I had really started doing a lot of that. I'd been really busy, but I thought, I need to take some time for me. So I'm sitting on my back porch, and we live in the country, and it's beautiful. And I'm watching the birds, and I'm taking more time for myself. And in that part of my life...
Are you saying to us, the most productive thing that you could possibly do in terms of getting everything that you want is to do things that feel good to you?
And it's easy. It was easy.
Yeah. Because this is the art of allowing, not the art of making it happen. This is the law of attraction, not the law of assertion. You are worthy. One of our favorite things that happens as you get on a run like this, where you just begin to believe in your ability to receive, is that you begin finally to feel worthy. And once that belief clicks into place, once you show yourself the simple process of just getting in sync with what you've already asked for, and you find out how powerful and smart and specific and connected the universe is in delivering to you, and then start to enjoy your aligned, clear-minded, receptive mode part of realizing that you were in the right place at the right time. You begin saying things to yourself like, well, I was going to go over there, and then instead I went over there. Esther came down this morning. She likes to sit and sort of meditate and relax and make sure that she's where she needs to be and that her microphone is connecting with the system and so forth. And she usually gets here 20 minutes before start time, because that's just about the right amount of time for her to get into that rhythm. And this morning she felt the impulse to come down at 25 after instead of 20 minutes before. So she was 15 minutes ahead of usual. And she thought, don't know why. It's not what I usually do. Just felt like the thing to do. And she was miraculously ready 15 minutes early. That in and of itself is sort of like world event. And then she was sitting there, and then the announcement is going to take the stairs. And Esther thought, somebody knew that was coming. Somebody knew that that announcement to take the stairs was coming. Somebody knew that my path of least resistance was to come down a little early rather than climb down the stairs at the time that I'd planned on coming. In other words, your source, your resources, there is so much information that is to your benefit. In fact, all of the information is only to your benefit. And so when you are nice enough to yourself to chill enough that you're in the receptive mode. Esther got the impulse and she didn't say, oh no, I can't go early. She got the impulse and thought it was the path of least resistance. When you're in that flow, the path of least resistance is just the one that you follow.
All I have to do sometimes, and that's why I say it's hilarious, is if I can't find something or I'm trying to locate, I'm looking for some inspiration for things, if I will just sit and be still for a few minutes, I'll just say, where is it? I can go straight to whatever it is I'm looking for.
The be still is the operative word, because be still in your mind, which means no contradictory thought flowing, and then the momentum that's already established will take you to anywhere you want to be. There is nothing that you cannot be or do or have. Now that's worded a little awkwardly. You can be or do or have anything that you choose is a much nicer way of saying it, much more in alignment way of saying it. But in any way we say it and in any way you hear it, there are no limits for you. If this time-space reality, as you've been sifting through life, had the wherewithal to cause you to put something in the vortex, and it did, and universal forces and your inner being and the law of attraction have gathered up the cooperative components, and you are in that receptive mode, it must be, it must be, it must be. And so if something is not being, now you know the reasons why. You're trying too hard.
I just wanted to say thank you. Yeah. My life is wonderful and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really good.
Thank you.